The big feature for update 2, we've got summoning. Let's go ahead and take a look at see how this works. So I've already preloaded myself up with the book. We've got the monsters. I put some bones here on the ground. So let's go ahead and summon ourselves some minions. I went ahead and put 5 skull piles and 5 bone piles. And let's see what the range of this is to start with. Here we go. Alright, so we have now raised our little minion army. These are the ones that are supposed to drop the books. Now, from what I can tell, your little minions won't fight until you fight, right? So if we pull aggro on this guy, right, he's come to us. They're still not fighting. We need to get a hit in. Once we get a hit in, there they go. Look at them. Let's see how they do. Let's see how they can take all 3. Ooh, I think he got a couple of them there. He got one. Got one. We still got 4 left. Ooh, he dropped a second one. Ooh, now he's after us. Think they're gonna get him. Think they're gonna get him. Alright, they dropped him. Let's see what he dropped for loot. So I see bone piles. So we've got at least a skull. So we got 7 skulls, which would be enough to summon 5 more. Alright. What do we got left? 3 guys? Let's go see if we can get a second one, guys. Ooh, I think he already dropped one of our guys. Come on, guys, you can do it. Ooh, I don't think they're gonna pull this one off. Alright, we're gonna have to finish this fight. Alright, let's see what he dropped. So he dropped, we got more bones. Alright, let's go ahead and heal ourselves up here. Oh, that might not work. Oh, it's just long. There we go. Nope. Okay, I don't think that one works. That could be something I spawned in that's just not in the game yet. Alright, let's go ahead and get ourselves some more minions here. Skull piles. Let's go make some trouble. These guys are doing pretty good. They've done some damage. We're just going to kite him here a little bit. Now, I believe they have a 5-minute timer. So it's not like your little skeleton army will stay with you for the full time, but... they're doing okay. This group's doing better, I think. There we go. Now, let's see. Off of these guys, we didn't get a book drop. Now, I was fighting earlier, and I may have spawned in the wrong guy. So let's go ahead and do one other quick thing here. We're going to go ahead and change the game mode to creative here. Okay, so let's spawn in some different guys. We're going to grab the... let's spawn them in over here. So we're going to grab a... so I just spawned in this one. Let's spawn in a patrol. And then over here... oh, see, he's moving. See, that core one maybe doesn't have the same loot table. It's hard to say. Let's spawn in... a wander. There we go. Okay, we're going to back off over here. So we got our bone pile drops from the monsters. I don't know if there's a limit. That's 15. That's 20. That's 25. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Alright, we have 25 of these guys. So again, I've spawned in a whole bunch of stuff here. Let's go ahead and get ourselves an actual health potion that might actually work. Okay, we know that the lesser potion of health, or small. Yeah, I think these were regenerations. Let's pull them out. Not sure what they do. Alright, we'll pull a couple of these down. Alright, we got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Okay, we're going to go back into adventure mode here. Let's see how crazy this gets. There's 5. There's 10. There's 15. There's 20. There's 25. Oh! Alright, let's go make some trouble. Where did our guys go? They did wander off. We got this guy's attention. Alright, go get him! Alright, this guy doesn't want to fight, evidently. He's just hanging out with us. Now, that's a pretty extreme version. Okay, it looks like... Okay, the book dropped there, right? We can see that the book has now dropped, and that should give us 5 more charges, essentially. Alright, let's go fight another guy. Now, I don't know that I would ever play like this. This is pretty crazy. I think I read we're looking at like a 50% drop chance on the books. So I don't think it's going to be that hard to get the books. Alright, did he drop a book? He did not. Well, that matches our 50%. But also, we can keep these skulls, right? So those were dropped as loot. So we can put these back down. 3, 4, 5. Let's go ahead and we'll dismiss this crazy group. Alright, let's do a test one more. We'll go ahead and get 2 more guys. Let's do 2 patrols. Drop him down. And we will drop another patrol down. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're good there. Put 5 down there. Alright, let's see. Okay, we have 8 down there. Let's go ahead and fire this back up. I think we'll just try to pull 5 this time. Okay, that one was slightly out of range. So, see how we only have 1 charge left on our book. So we'll step a little bit closer and summon that last guy. Alright, ooh, looks like they're both relatively close here. Okay, we got this guy's attention. This will do the fight a little bit more like we probably would do it in real life. So they don't seem to take friendly damage. There's no friendly fire here. Alright, what did he drop? I don't see the book, so let's go fight another one. Ooh, I think he dropped one of our skeletons. Now, you don't have to spawn 5 as well, right? You could just spawn a single one. Okay, he did drop the book. So again, we're seeing about a 50% drop rate from what I'm seeing. So there we go. So if you wanted to, once you get one of these, right? Did he... like, we're getting plenty of skulls. We've got 40 skulls. And if you can drop a few of these guys, you're going to have plenty of skulls and books in order to actually fight this with your minions. So hopefully you took a look at that. Let's go back to the patch notes. Catch you later. After that exciting skeleton fight, let's go ahead and take a look at Update 2's patch notes. Much like last time, we're going to go line by line through the patch notes. We will rank them in content, gameplay, system, engine, and kind of talk about what we see as part of this update. We are just our second week in, so this is our second weekly update. That is great to see. The timing has been absolutely amazing there. All right, our first category, we've got cosmetics and customization. New avatar customization options have been added for everyone. I like the for everyone part of that. It doesn't look like they're looking to lock this behind, paywalls, or, if you bought the particular version, you only get certain customizations to your character. Now, you do get cosmetic outfits, but seeing this is actually relatively cool. So we have got the bandit mask and side knot variant. We've got the blindfold and the thick variant. We've got the bandage blindfold, thick left eye, right eye variants. We've got vampire mouth, we've got cute mouth, we've got orc mouth, and we've got added white color to fantasy cotton cosmetics. Now I'm going to count the bandit mask, the blindfold, the bandage blindfold as one new piece of content, even though it did add variants. You could make the case that those are multiple, but that gets us 7 new pieces of content right out of the bat. Our second one, updated visuals for the following haircuts. We've got the single side pigtail, we've got the hair stick bun, we've got the simple bob cut, we've got the fighter buns, we've got the smart elven, and we've got windswept. So this gives us 13 new updates to just basically hair, mouth, and character customization right out of the gate there. All right, our next one, added new armor slot visibility toggles next to equipped armor, accessible directly in the character panel. This is pretty cool. I jumped in and messed around with this a little bit. You can turn each armor slot on and off independently of each other. So if you just want to remove your helmet, or just want to remove, let's say, your gauntlets or something like that, that is pretty cool. So we're going to call that a gameplay update. Should we? New content? Yeah, it's a gameplay update. So we'll put that over there. Server hosts can disable and enable this feature to enforce rules for PvP immersion purposes. This we're going to put over in Tech Engine. This is nice because if you are on a PvP server, you want to be able to see how difficult your opponent's going to be, right? What armor they're wearing does make a difference. And so being able to turn that on and off for the server is a cool little touch there. Improved animation for capes when player is running. We'll call this a content update. Anytime we see improve, that tends to be where those fall. So out of the bat, cosmetics customization, pretty cool. I think I even mentioned like it would be cool to be able to turn our armor on and off in an early stream. So this is some cool stuff. Now there's some, if you're up on the social media, they're even hinting at more of this kind of stuff. The one that I saw that I'm looking forward to is being able to save preset avatars. So if you want a different avatar look at different servers and stuff like that, you'll have the ability to do that. All right, I'm thinking we're going to get a lot of gameplay balancing stuff in this section, but this is called gameplay and balance. A new item was added that allows the user to raise skeleton minions from nearby bone piles. Has a chance to drop from the large Praetorian skeleton. All right, so we just looked at that. That is definitely a huge gameplay update. We'll put that in the gameplay category. This was pretty cool. And from what I can tell, at least in testing so far, it's not going to be so rare to get. The bone piles and the book drops seem relatively generous. So it's not going to be like one of these things like, well, yeah, you can do it, but it's impossible to get. Now, I do believe those skeletons only spawn in the devastated lands, right? So you have to be a little bit higher level, which means you're not going to be doing this from the very beginning. But I also, as you saw in the video, you can place down the bones. One of my worries on this was going to be that you had to go find random bone pile spawns in the wild. But once you get a stack of the bones, you can just place them down and raise your skeleton army when you want to. That's a cool touch. This was really, really cool, really fun. I could see a lot of things going here. Now, we spawned 25. I don't know if there's a limit. We might test that at some point. I mean, it's a waste of resources, I think, to spawn that many, but I don't know how this is going to affect potentially PvP as well. You know, can they attack other people? So some questions here, but an awesome, cool new feature. Adamantite now requires a thorium or cobalt pickaxe to be mined. This makes a lot of sense. Right now, that's the highest tier ore in the game, and to be able to mine it with your starting pickaxe seems a little out of whack. So we're going to put that in as a balancing update. Mining and pickaxe progression has been adjusted. We'll put this in as a balancing update as well. Lower tier pickaxes now deal much less damage to higher tier ore blocks. Upgrading to a higher quality pickaxe significantly reduces the amount of hits required. I think we might test this in our stream tonight. We're streaming update 2 tonight. We're going to mess around with some of the summoning. We'll probably test some crop stuff, but just pickaxe update makes a lot of sense. That's just balancing out the system. Buffed polar bears, that definitely feels like a balancing update as well. My experience, polar bears seem to be roughly the same difficulty as a grizzly bear, and since the grizzly bear is in the starting biomes and the buffed polar bears is in a later zone, it makes sense that they would be stronger. We'll see how buffed they got. More decorative light recipes have been added to the furniture bench. Decorative light recipes. I mean, it is a content. Let's put that into new content. It says more, so that's kind of cool to see. The following NPCs will now drop medium hide instead of light hide. Huge balancing update here. Let's put that in our balancing category. Bison, boar, cow, horse, and warthog. Medium armor or medium hide was one of the blockages that we got when we were trying to make our new armor and things like that. We hunted a lot of grizzly bears because that was a reliable source, but it meant you're always looking for grizzly bears. If we've got bison, boar, cow, horse, warthogs, you can start to get this in the relatively early game. If you are a hoarder, you like to hoard your resources, right? You should be able to have stacks of hide by the time you need them for the later tier stuff. So good to see an update like that. The magma toad has been adjusted. Oh, we have a history with the magma toad. Definitely a balancing update here. Tongue damage has been significantly reduced. It now alternates between its tongue attack and new ability, headbutt. So we're going to put this in new ability. Let's make that a new content. It deserves its own little section. That tongue attack was nasty. We died many times to these toads in one of our early streams. So good to see a little bit of balancing going on there, and then also additional content. Petals are now craftable in the furniture bench under textiles category. Now craftable means it is new. So let's put this in as a new content piece. This makes them renewable as yellow petals can be farmed from growing sunflower seeds. All crafting requirements used to make different colored petals are now renewable resources. Let's go ahead and add that as a gameplay update or balancing. Let's go update. Lighter variants of each cloth block can now be crafted using combination of petals. That is also a content update. I jumped into this now. When it says petals, we're not talking about the azure, the storm, or the blood versions. These are just the colored versions: yellow, green, blue. And you can use it to craft different lights, different clays, and to change colors of items. So it's pretty cool. I messed around with it a little bit earlier today. It does just kind of give that ability to decorate, which is neat to see that they're actually across the patch notes. You notice that they're hitting on all kinds of different areas. Different players have different things they enjoy doing. All right, world generation. World Gen V2 has been prepared for public documentation to help modders. Let's put this in as a tech update. I like this, that they are getting this out to people before it launches, especially people who are writing mods, right? They're making this information available so that you can get started and planning as opposed to just like when it drops. So making that, documentation available is really, really cool. New default flat and default void templates have been added using World Gen V2. I believe default flat and default void may be a creative mode things. But again, same kind of thing. Let's put this into, we'll say content update. For somebody who is writing content, to have a place to go and start testing some of this stuff is neat to see. Which goes to this next one. The Creative Hub portal now spawns with World Gen V2 Flat World Gen. So we now have a playground. So let's put that under new content. We have a playground to play with the new stuff, especially, and again, if you're just a player, this might not matter, but for people who are writing mods and the support to the mod community they're already showing, this is actually really, really cool. Results in clear weather and limited fog, but only works in new creative worlds. This is a theme that we've seen a number of times, in that if you've already created a world and it's already spawned out, it can't make retroactive changes, but that's okay. Major refactor of ore placement in all zones. You will need to explore new chunks for old worlds to see this change. So again, the spawn has already happened. It doesn't go and retroactively change it. I'm gonna put this under balancing. The being able to find ore easier definitely makes life less grindy, if you will. Results in more ores, especially in devastated land undergrounds. I have heard a lot of people, it's like, how did you find so much X ore? We did a couple of streams where we showed how we worked the surface areas to get a bunch, but having it be more reliable as you actually go into a mine and get this content is pretty cool. All right, our next category, we've got farming. Eternal crops no longer break from accidental weapon damage. Accidental, I'm going to put this as our first bug fix. That was probably never intended, and so the fact that they cleaned this up. Now, I don't think I ever had this happen to me, but it is cool to see that they're looking for things like that. Increased tilled soil lifetime now lasts longer, between 1.2 and 1.5 days. I believe this would be a tilled block with no crops in it. So we'll put this under balancing of gameplay. Fix soil decay under fully grown crops. This one we have seen. We had this issue with our eternal crops, right? Because they just sit there and you would have a decay underneath it. So you'd have to rip it up and retill. It would still grow, so it wasn't a big deal. It's more visual. But let's see. Fixed. I'm going to put that under a bug fix. So let's put that in the bug fixes category. You can now hold torches in your offhand while using the hoe and seeds. Oh, this is what we're going to put in quality of life. We put lighting in our field just so we could see, but when you would switch to plant, not being able to see because it's dark was kind of rough. The hoe is a tool just like the pickaxe, just like the axe. So being able to have your offhand hold a torch or something else like that is very, very cool. I like that one. Breaking fully grown eternal crops will drop their seeds back. I'm going to say balancing on this one. I'm not 100% sure where they're going with this one, because we have dug up our seeds and gotten them back. Now, I wonder if it is... Here's my speculation. We're going to speculation mode here. It says fully grown eternal crops. So if you harvest the crop and then break it, you would get the seed back. Maybe if you broke it before harvesting, you would not. So, is that a balance change? Is that a bug fix? I think you could go either way. Let's just leave it where we put it. All right. Harvesting crops can now be placed on the ground when crouching. That's just a content update. You know, it just didn't work as intended. Wasn't necessarily a bug, but we'll put that in as a gameplay update. Recipe requirements costs have been adjusted for the hose. They've also added some new ones. So adjustment, we're going to put under balancing. And then hose now unlock at different farming bench tiers. Copper is now tier 2 instead of tier 4. Iron is tier 4 instead of tier 8. Thorium has been added to tier 6. I think thorium is new. I don't remember that being in the game. So when they added that, they had to adjust everything down, right? So we'll put this in as, let's see, copper is balancing, iron is balancing, and then thorium we're going to put in as new content because I don't think that was in the game before. All right, we've got UI UX. Improve the editor block tooltip descriptions. All right, we're just going to put that in as just a content update. There we go. Tooltips will now display the names of colors when hovering over color options in the avatar customization menu. I'm going to put that under quality of life. It's just those little things like that that make the game better. That's a good quality of life update. Made improvements to the visibility of the hotbar active slot by increasing contrast and adding a diamond indicator. Another quality of life for me here. Anytime that you're making adjustments like that to make it easier on the player, that definitely falls under our quality of life category. This makes it easier to see the hotbar active slot when brighter environments like the Howling Sands. The categories of memories are now sorted alphabetically when being viewed via the Heart of Orbis. We'll put this in just as a content update. Scripted brush quality of life improvements. Now we're getting into some of the creative mode editor stuff here, but again, like I mentioned before, it's really great to see them addressing content across all kinds of playstyles. So that's really cool. Okay, so added missing entries to filters and removed invalid blocks from filters. So we've got an added and removed in the filters. This, I think we're going to put under... It's an update to the filters, so... I think it's just an update. They were just cleaning up some stuff, maybe based off of old data. Fixed various bugs in existing scripted buses. Well, we'll definitely put that in as a bug fix since they just called it fixing bugs. Added decoration and cave brushes. Okay, this is new content. We'll put that in. Removed redundant scripted brushes. We'll put that in as an update. We've got updated the jump block type node to use a single offset instead of a list of offsets. That's an update. We're going to put that over in the tech category. Changing how it works. All right, we've got inventory interaction updates. Better double click handling. You can now click faster. We'll call that a tech update. Shift plus clicking on armor will now directly equip it if no armor is currently equipped in the respective slot. Maybe quality of life, maybe just a gameplay update. We'll put it under just the update category. QERT shortcut keybinds have been added for the inventory quick actions: put all, pull all, quick stack, and sort. So these are the little icons in a chest where you can move stuff in and out of the chest. Keybinds definitely fall squarely into quality of life, in my opinion. Shortcuts now display in the tooltip when hovering over quick action buttons, such as the sort items by type. So shortcuts, yeah, we'll put that in quality of life as well. Anytime we see a shortcut or anything that makes it easier to figure something out, definitely quality of life. An FPS counter overlay option has been added to the settings menu. We'll put this under a tech update over there. This can be found under general user interface. The current FPS will be displayed in the top right corner of the game when this is enabled. All right, made various improvements to player markers. Player markers now display on the compass. I don't know if that didn't exist before. I have not played multiplayer, so I haven't really experienced that, but let's put this over in the tech update. Removed player prefix from the player markers on the map. It's not a bug fix. It's not really a tech update. It's just a content update. So let's put this over in content update. Player names will always render on the map. Always render makes it feel like it wasn't working before. Bug fix, maybe. Tech update, maybe. Let's put that under bug fix. Player names. Okay, we did that one. Added toggle buttons for map compass visibility in the players maps players list. So toggleable buttons. We're going to put that under a just gameplay update category. Players at different heights will have a different icon, up down indicators in the compass. That's kind of cool. I'm going to add that over in quality of life. It's one thing to have the indicators, another thing to be able to tell exactly where they are. So little tiny tweaks like that can make a huge difference. All right, we have audio and visual. Added all missing basic Rex sounds. We're going to put that into new content. That's going to be the dinosaurs that were added in the last patch. Updated the bones item drag drop inventory sound. Now, I don't know if that is the pile of bones. This could be linked to the fact that there's a lot of focus and attention being put on the bone piles now since they just added the skeleton stuff. So they wanted to update that as well. So we'll put that under a content update category. Fixed a bug in the Howling Sands cave track. Well, they just said they fixed a bug, so that's definitely a bug fix. Updated all food particle tints. That's a visual update, so we'll put that under content update. All right, last section. I think this is the last section. Bug fixes, tech, and stability. Introduced a server auto update system, including configuration options and new commands for update management. We're going to put this into the tech updates over there, changing how the system works. There's a whole section in here about server stuff. So that's kind of, something that they are definitely paying attention to. Added a new update module core plugin and integrated it into the server boot process, allowing the server to check for and apply updates, notify players, and handle staged updates. Okay, tech update. Introduced update config in the Hytale server config with fields for enabling updates, check intervals, notification preferences, patch line selections, backup options, and auto apply modes. Includes serialization support and getter setter methods. I think serialization comes up a couple of times in here. We'll put this in tech. Serialization just being when the engine is using objects and entities and building like a NPC and stuff like that, how do you get that information out of the engine and store it locally? Serialization is taking all that data, putting it in a way like a JSON file or something like that, and being able to read that in and out. So, again, this is more on the techie side. It won't affect your gameplay necessarily, but it is important. We've got added a new shutdown reason update to indicate when the server should restart and apply staged updates. Again, we'll put this squarely in the tech. Added new /update commands and detailed server messages for checking, downloading, applying, and managing updates, including player notifications and auto apply warnings. Engine stuff. Updated the release workflow to include launcher scripts, start.sh, start.bat. We'll put that in the tech as well. So again, making server management easier, right? And giving more functionality most likely there. All right, made improvements to rendering shadows to fix various issues. Improvements, we'll put that as a tech update. Fix middle click pick block when the hotbar is full in creative mode. Now when middle clicking a block in creative mode, when the inventory is full, it will replace the current slot with the newly picked up items. I mean, creative mode is still gameplay, so let's put that over in just a gameplay update. Changes the way the system works. The asset editor will now display documentation and tooltips. Quality of life. When we see tooltip updates, we tend to go quality life there. Fixed issues with mantling detection, which resulted in many unintended behaviors. I'm going to put this under a bug fix. So most likely mantling detection. What this one is it has to do with climbing blocks and things like that. Often it's like, how does it see the obstacle? How does it all kind of work? So the fact that they resulted in many unintended behaviors means that some of their climbing systems, or maybe the animations weren't working right. There's definitely something going on there. Implemented a fix to persist cleared keybinds across session. We'll put that in as a bug fix. Made some adjustments to improve weather transitions to reduce jarring visuals. More improvements will be made in the future. So adjustments for weather transitions. It's not necessarily gameplay, so we'll put it in the tech updates category. Fixed an issue when using teleporters to avoid accidental collisions by applying an offset. Maybe bug fix. Let's put this under bug fixed. What this feels like is, if you're with teleporters, when it would teleport you in, it would put you in a random spot close to the destination teleporter. And this might, depending, it might get you stuck in a wall or something like that, would be my guess on this one. Rail carts now consume correctly and placed properly. Bug fix for sure. Bed respawning in unloaded chunks has been fixed. Fixes an issue where the collision checks always failed if there were no loaded chunks. We're going to put this under bug fix as well. This could be related. I think that was in the last patch notes, they talked about it as well, where you would not respawn where you're supposed to respawn. I've had this happen where we just respawn back at the original spawn point as opposed to our new base that we created. So looks like they're still fighting whatever problem is going on there. Major server stability, validation, ECS, localization, and timeout improvements. Not necessarily bug fixes, so we'll put this in the tech category. ECS is probably just entity stuff. Entity component system would be my guess in their abbreviation there. As a note, just as somebody who's writing patch notes, using abbreviations is usually a good idea to include what the abbreviation stands for. Just because your whole audience might not know what that is. Refilling containers now targets the closest block of water rather than requiring you to aim at the block behind underwater. I'm gonna call that a tech improvement. It just worked one way and now they've improved how it works. Fix some types of items displaying oversized placement previews. That's a bug fix. It's just not working as intended. Fix an issue with the Berserker haircut texture tiling. Bug fix, definitely strong there. Fix glasses textures from inheriting the cosmetic color of their lens highlights. Bug fix for sure. Added permissions to world map teleporting. Prevents players from sending packets to server and teleporting anywhere they want without OP, which is, it's a status you can give yourself on a server. I think it stands for operator, if I remember right. Added permissions. That's an update, so let's put that in as a tech update. I was leaning towards bug fix, but Emerald Wild's dungeons and other environments have been fixed. You might hear new soundtracks. So something that wasn't working as intended, we'll put that in as a bug fix. Fix sending player marker updates while map isn't open. Fixed, we'll put under bug fix. Fixed player markers flickering when hovering on the map. That's not really a bug. That might be a tech improvement, so we'll put that under tech. Other players' names are more readable when zoomed in on the map. Maybe tech could be considered quality of life, but it feels like something just wasn't rendering correctly, so we'll put that in under our tech update category. And that is the end of the patch notes. Now, again, this is just what they choose to share, and how they format these will affect our ranking system a little bit. But again, a whole lot of new content in here. I'm impressed that they have gone across the board. We have got different categories that are potentially going after different players. We've got server stuff, we've got creative mode stuff, we've got avatar things, we've got a new gameplay in the adventure mode, right? It's really cool to see that they're not just hyper focused on one particular audience. They're adding things across the board. And again, still feels like a significant amount of content being added for just their second patch. If they can keep this weekly patch up at this kind of level, it's going to be crazy to see how much new content gets added. Now, at some point, you know, all of these are like a new game system. Like, you know, you can toggle your armor on and off. You have this new ability to summon skeletons, right? All these little updates, you know, again, they're a lot of work, but it's adding one new feature. At some point behind the scenes, I'm guessing they are also still working on, there will be a huge update where they launch the adventure mode, you know, and different things like that with the whole story and stuff like that. We kind of live in this exploration mode right now. So with that being said, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this analysis up. We will be streaming tonight if you're watching this on the day that we release the video, where we check out some of these new elements, some of these new items. We stream about every other day right now is our cadence for Hytale streaming, checking out all of the new stuff. Our world in our streaming is we've completed pretty much everything in the exploration mode, but we would love to have you join us. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and say goodbye for now. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for checking out these patch notes, and we'll see you in Hytale. Take care, everybody.